sketch party. It's a time for a sketch party. What's up, everybody? Good to see you. Steve says the sun has finally risen. I'm so glad to hear that for you, Steve. Have you been watching all day? You were here for my daily creative challenge this morning. Goodness gracious. Esty says, hello, excited first time to use Fresco. Cool, good to hear that. So if you are new to Sketch Party, I'm Kathleen. I'm going to be your host. If you recognize me, that would make sense because I was just here this morning to do the Daily Creative Challenge for Photoshop. So Jesse just got done with his Daily Creative Challenge for XD. Julia did hers at about 11:30 for Illustrator, and we have one going on for Photoshop as well. So if you want to learn any of those programs, I would recommend that you watch those streams. They happen every day too. Yeah, party, Sam. Steve, you have been watching all day. Salute to you, true MVP of the day. So Sketch Party is a super fun hour-long stream where we just have fun and we sketch together. There's a little bit of audience participation, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Let me get over here to me iPad. All right, so I'm going to be using Adobe Fresco, which is an iPad app. It's for drawing and painting, and it's pretty much my favorite thing in the entire world. So I told you yesterday that I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing, and in that game, your island can have one of like 6 or 7, maybe 8 different flowers, and it's like native to your island. So my island got cosmos and windflowers. Yes, only those 2, I think. But I wanted to draw some of the flowers from different islands. So we've got the pansies in the top left, we've got the windflowers in the top right, cosmos in the bottom left, and then lilies, which are super pretty, in the bottom right. So part of Sketch Party is you guys help me decide which one I'm going to draw, and then you also help me decide which color palette I'm going to use. So yesterday you all decided on this color palette, which is funny because that's the one that we used 2 weeks ago for this illustration. You guys remember this? Oh no, where are his little glowing footprints? Are they gone forever? That's not good. He did have glowing footprints at a previous time. So it's the same color palette, which is super cool. And then we decided on lilies. So I'm going to finish up my lily sketch. We'll see how much time we have left and maybe start another one. But I will be back next week on Monday and Tuesday to do the same thing. So it might be a new set of sketches, but either way, you're going to help me decide what to draw. SD says, I have pansies and windflowers on my island. Cool, pansy. Oh wait, I have pansies too, actually, because I just got hybrid orange ones. I love the windflowers. I think those are my favorite. So I'm glad that we got them. What's up, Dave? Good to see you. We're going to be continuing our lily sketch. So let me turn off the other flower layers. It works just like Photoshop or any other program where you can turn off the visibility. There you go. We have our reference right there in the corner. And then we started with a super rough sketch. So kind of just the entire shape of the stalk that we were going to be drawing, which way we wanted our blossoms to be facing, etc. That has nothing on it. Then it did a kind of a more final sketch using a little bit more intention. It's still pretty rough though, like in that left area I couldn't quite decide where to put the petals, so there's a couple different lines going on. Party! What's up, Adobe Live? Good to see your icon. And then we've been working on this cool kind of printmaking-esque technique. So what I mean by that is when I turn off the sketch and we zoom in here, doesn't this look like it was maybe carved like into a wood block? And I'm going to continue doing that technique over here in the right. The right portion isn't done yet. So we'll continue that and then we'll start adding the rest of our colors. Does that sound good? I'm here for it. Susanna says, lilies, yay! Yeah, this reference image has white lilies, but I want to do some like crazy colors in these flowers. So let's turn our sketch back on. I still have my same settings as I had yesterday. So we are using actually a lettering brush to get this nice texture. It comes with Fresco, so it's just in the pixel brushes, and if you tap lettering, you can see that there's 8 brushes in there, and then we are using the gritty lettering brush. Oh, it reminds you of a master style. Can't think of which one though. Interesting. Is it the one, the guy who drew or carved the rabbit? I forget his name. Durer. His prints are much more photorealistic than this, though. All right, so the way that I've been going about making this printmaking texture is I am basically drawing a little bit around where the purple sketch is, and then we are changing our blend mode to be clear, which basically turns our brush into an eraser, which is probably one of my top 5 best tips. If you want to have a cohesive illustration, you're going to want to have similar textures throughout the entire thing, and one way to do that is to use a similar brush or the same brush for both your eraser and your brush, if that makes sense. So that way when you erase things, it's not like you're erasing with like a super soft round brush and then drawing with a very textured brush. When those two lines meet, it'll look strange. Dave says, I will also draw flowers in fresco flowers, if you will. Flowers a la fresco, perhaps, in plein air. You know, somebody yesterday said, might have been one of you, that my streams have a very Bob Rossian vibe. Got my little like smock on. I'm painting. I need an afro and a palette and I'd be good to go. So we're changing our blend mode to clear. I usually decrease the size of my brush a little bit because we have a lot of little kind of nooks and crannies. And let's get to it. Is the bamboo in Animal Crossing an attempt to attract panda bears to your island? I wish. Are there any panda villagers? I think there are. Isn't there like a pink one? I just got the cutest villager. His name is Sherb, and he's a goat. And he's blue, like Sherbert. He has a very cute personality, kind of bumbly. And everything in his house is purple and with hearts on it. I just love him. He has good vibes. Fashionably late to the party. What's up, Chad? How has your day been? What have you been up to? What's a day in the life of a Chad these days? So I am just erasing a little bit at a time, and I'm trying to keep my strokes pretty large. I don't want to get too scratchy because that's not how you make a print. When you're printmaking, you do one smooth movement to carve away. So I'm using my Apple Pencil like a carving tool. This is a little too smooth over here. All right, let's move up here. This art looks pretty good, to be honest. I remember the first time I did printmaking, it was actually in elementary school. I was like, I want to do this more. I'm excited about this. Let's turn off that layer. Nice. This area up here, or you can't see it because it's unclear, but that top tip of that little bloom I feel like looks very printmaker-y. I like it. And little do you guys know that there's a very cute dog, whoops, wrong layer, sleeping right next to me. He's usually not allowed in the streaming room, but he was in here when I started, so now he's stuck in here. He's snoozing. Right before this, he was baking in the sun. You know how dogs do that? They'll find a little sunspot and lay in it and get all warm. Oh, to be a dog. Thin this out a little bit. And this area in the center as well. I'm really loving the gritty texture of this brush. Cool. Looks good. We're almost done, you guys, and we can start adding more colors. Exciting. Just gonna refresh this super quick. There we go. So somebody said that they're also drawing. Dave, is that you? I want to see your drawing when you're done. Shauna was in here yesterday while I was drawing as well, and she said she was drawing along, but I want to see her her sketch that she made. Maybe once we're done with this line work, we can go in and add some more of these little details, like right there. No, like right there. Those little two like hatch marks. I like that detail. Turn that on, go back here, change blend mode. Correct, okay. Dave, you're also drawing. Perfect. Then after me, we actually have one more stream. It's been a full day of live streaming. Always is. But we have, I believe, someone named Dale. I've actually never seen his streams before. Yep, doing some illustration in, you guessed it, Illustrator. That's going to be cool. So he'll be up right at 3:30 when I get off. Then I believe there's going to be a stream from Europe in the middle of the night for me, but in the afternoon for them. Probably like 4 a.m. Pacific time. But you can check the schedule below the player. Cleaning this up. I'm going to leave a couple little cross hatch marks in there. Looks good. I believe this might be our last little section. I feel like my brush is a little too small. Gotta get that texture in there. Maybe I'm just pressing too hard. Do you hear the dog? He let out a very lovely little grunt when he laid down. Are you pleased with yourself? And then this little area is our last spot. All right, let's turn off our sketch and see how it all looks. Oh, we forgot to do this bottom leaf. I can already tell it has not gotten the treatment. It's too thick. So Chad, your day has been a little bit hectic, but doing good. Working on painting bug fixes in PS Desktop. Whoa. Does that mean you have to like try and break the app to fix it, to figure out what's wrong? That is a really cool kind of peek behind the Photoshop curtain. All right, turn this bad boy off. Looks pretty good. Let's jump back in here. Add some more depth. We could even change our blend mode back to normal. And add a couple little hatches, like here, and maybe here. Increase the size of the brush. And I can kind of replicate that printmaker-y feel by just thickening up where the corners meet, because that usually happens if you're using a larger carving tool. We also want to use those hatches to show where shadow is happening. So for example, this petal is behind the other one, so there might be more shadows. This one is curling over. I don't like that one. There we go. We have a cool bird in New Zealand that eats the sap or syrup from bamboo. It's called the tui. Tui? Tui. Nice. Is it like a pest bird? Or do people like it? You break stuff all the time on purpose, obviously. Then this guy's coming from here, but we lost the connector. Alrighty, so we're going to turn off our initial sketch, And let's start painting underneath this sketch. What's up, Shauna? We were just talking about you. How you were here yesterday and said that you were also sketching along, and I was curious as to if you finished your sketch. The first thing I want to do is let's put in our shadows first. Yes, we'll put in some shadows, and I'm thinking for the shadow we might as well just use our darkest value that we have. So I'm going to color drop on here, on a new layer underneath our pink layer. I'm going to start dropping in some hash marky large areas. Maybe up here as well, and let's just see how this all comes together. I want there to still be white space in between, so we can really see that white paper coming through. No, it's really cool. Nice. You like the Tweety bird. Oops. Gonna erase that. There, we got some darkness going on down here at the bottom. And we can not really worry too much about going outside the lines because we're painting under the pink, so I have quite a guardrail until I actually get outside the lines. Then we can come back in with a smaller brush, carve back into it. There we go. Double tap the touch shortcut to keep it on. Okay. Now we'll go back and add some more shadows. How about some in the center here? Oh, thank you for the social push, Sam. Yeah, go check out my Instagram. I post a lot of fashion illustrations. I've been really into animating those illustrations recently. So my workflow is usually to draw all of my different frames in Fresco, and then I will save it as a Cloud document, and then open it in Photoshop on the desktop and use the frame animation tool to animate it and export it as a GIF or GIF. And there might be a day coming where I don't have to go to the desktop version. I can just stay in Fresco. That would be awesome. All right, that's enough shadow for that one. Maybe add some shadow on this leaf. Add some here. Get some going up here. So our shadow is acting as kind of like a secondary detail brush. So like right here, I added that little hatch mark in the middle to show that there's a groove there and it's casting a shadow. Get some going up the side of this. And some here at the base of this. Nice. Maybe a little bit there as well. Do you find yourself working any differently between Photoshop and Fresco for digital painting? I think I paint more like I would in real life, like traditionally on an easel or with a canvas in Fresco. Because with Photoshop, I'm so used to using different opacities, different blend modes, and changing things really quickly on the fly. I feel like in Fresco, I have to rely more on like just paint it how you want it to look. And not saying that Fresco doesn't have the capabilities to change the blend modes and everything, but I'm just so used to in Photoshop having my hand on the mouse and having my stylus on my tablet and like working together. Whereas this is just very much draw, paint, layer things. I think it's a little more simple on the iPad. And I think I draw better on an iPad because you have that direct eye to hand coordination instead of having to have your hand down here and looking at your screen like you would with a normal tablet. So I appreciate that. I feel like a lot of people now are using iPads instead of like Cintiqs. If they aren't really doing like huge works, but I know Shauna I think uses a Cintiq, and maybe you do too, Sam. So I'd like to hear how you feel about the difference between like iPad, Cintiq, what you would use them for. Whoops. All right, we've got some shadows going on. Let's make a new layer and choose. Maybe we'll use something that is similar to the outline color, but a little bit lighter. So I'm going to go back here, go lighter, and maybe a little more towards orange. Yeah, that looks good with it. And this will be kind of like our fill color. So larger areas will be filled with this, at least in the flowers. And I'm going to try not to draw over the shadows too much, because I want them to really live in two different layers, like that. All right, let's go over here. And if they touch a little bit, that's fine. Slowly building this up. And then once we actually get all of this kind of filled in, I might go in and change the hues a little bit, but we'll wait. Nice. Sam says if the iPad feels very much like a sketchbook type of experience. I have an older Cintiq and I think I prefer the iPad. Oh, really? That is interesting. I like that underneath the shadows layer a little bit more. Okay, let's add some larger areas here. I'm honestly kind of glad I never really bit the bullet and bought a real Cintiq, just because I feel like I'm swimming in iPads right now and they work pretty well. Very well, I should say. I feel like I do not need a big old Cintiq at the moment. Although maybe someday I can be cool like Shauna and have an iPad and a Cintiq in my office. It's kind of the life. I'm going to decrease the size of my brush just a little bit to get in here. Not too much though, I want it to look similar. I like this technique of when two colors meet, you kind of have them intersperse to make that shading. It's not like actually blended, but visually it's blending. I like that. Okay, we're getting there. Shauna says, I had a Surface Pro before I got the iPad, and the iPad is a much nicer experience. Wow. I haven't heard that feedback before. Cintiq is great, but I love the portability of the iPad. Cintiq is more for finishing at this point. Totally. Yeah, sometimes I feel like even if I really like what I made on the iPad, I feel like I need to take it into Photoshop just because of little tiny tweaks that I can make a little bit quicker with a mouse. Like color balance, levels, little masks, that kind of thing. All right, so this is very dark and very light. So let's add kind of a secondary color to mesh the two together. Maybe that pink can kind of be, my dog just groaned. Maybe that pink can kind of be like our mid-tone, and then we could add maybe a really light blue as our highlight. I don't know, let's try it. Does that look good together? Pretty good. What about a really light purple? Not enough. I think blue and yellow make very good highlight colors, and green, just because by nature they can go really bright when it comes to value. Very bright and very saturated and punchy. Okay, let's go for a little bit of blue. Make a new layer. And daub some blue here. Maybe especially in those little areas where the colors are mixing. Nice, I like it. Dave says, I have an XP pen tablet. It's pretty cool. I've never tried a Cintiq. Sam knows color. Sam definitely does know color. He's a master of that realistic color. Cool. I like that combo. I wonder if we change this navy blue, that's kind of cool, to be the dark vibrant purple that we have. A quick way to change that would be to lock the transparency of the layer. Grab this purple, get a big old brush, and just paint over it. Looks pretty nice. We could even try it with this darker maroon. Maybe have some different shadow colors to play with. I like that dark maroon. It's pretty cool. Bring that purple back in here. Nice. And then maybe bring some maroon into here. Those colors just do their thing. Cool. So once we have all of our big colors laid down, I might go in here, make a new layer, make sure we're still under the sketch, and grab like a bright, woo, that's really bright. A bright but light yellowy shade, maybe a little closer to white. Let's put in some larger graphic shapes. Make my brush a little bit smaller. Let's just lay some down in here. Yeah, I like that. Being very experimental, just kind of figuring out what feels right. This is very much my process. I try a bunch of different things, try things that I never have tried before. That's how I kind of get different outcomes every time, but a similar feel because they were all made by my hand. Cool. Don't want to cover too many of those little hatch marks. Undo. Nice. It's a psychedelic lily. Jason, you like? By the way, hi Jason. Thanks for watching. How you doing? All right, so let us jump back into our pink layer. Grab our salmony pink again, make our brush small, and keep adding texture. Texture as color, color as texture. I'm thinking a dark background would look really cool behind all of these little like motes of color. I wonder what kind of dark background. We could go just straight black, but I like to keep it a little more saturated than that. Hello. Just filling in kind of our midfield colors. Midfield? Sports term or art term? Let's debate. I'm thinking mid-value colors into color fields. Midfield. Makes sense. Continue adding these over here. Trying my best not to overlap too much with other layers and keep that white space in between. I think the white space helps to show some movement too. That white space becomes its own shape. So it's like white and pink swimming together. There we go. I really like this whole flower. I think it looks pretty cool. Lots of lilies and ponds, so maybe a mix of blue and green for the pond as a background. Oh, I see. Yeah, lilies do like a lot of water, right? You can find them like in forests, like shady forests too. Water lilies, of course. Those are a thing. Made famous by a certain artist. And I guess his style of painting is kind of similar to this, some impressionism. Really like this little shape. It's very crinkly. Crinkle-y. Justin, what's up? What's with the long face? I see some people also watching over on YouTube. You should come over to Behance and hang out. That's where the real sketch party is. It's also where I'm paying attention to the chat. But thank you, Sam, for being in there, chatting with people. Okay. Pretty much done with the pink. Pinch zoom out. So we're gonna try and replicate this style with the rest of them. Let's see how we do. So the first thing we need to do is add a little bit of that blue. Going back to my blue layer, grabbing my blue color. Is this it? Yep. And I didn't actually spread it through the entire thing. So let's also add some blue over here, just where it feels right. And those little areas of white that might still need to be filled in, or else they might be a little distracting. Cool. Ooh, I like that. I was not expecting these lilies to turn out like this, but I'm really digging it. These almost feel like hybrids between pansies and lilies, because pansies can have those really wild insides that almost look like veins. Olivier, hello. Are you using an iPad Pro or a standard iPad? I am using an iPad Pro, and it is the newest version. I think it's the biggest one, the 12.9. I think either size will be fine. And honestly, the Pro and the regular iPad, I feel like are pretty simple or similar these days. So I think probably what you can afford. What is most comfortable for you? But I think it's pretty safe to say that in most cases, the iPad Pro will have more compatibility with apps that you might want to use. So if you have the budget and you're kind of trying to choose between an iPad Pro or a regular iPad, you might want to go with Pro. But they're both powerful and they can both use the Apple Pencil now, I'm pretty sure. For a second, I thought I was on the wrong layer the whole time. You have the newest iPad Pro. How do you like it? I mean, honestly, Shauna, I feel like the iPads in the last, I don't know, year or two are all pretty similar, at least for what I use them for. So I pretty much only use like digital painting apps on iPads. And I think in the last year or so, specifically, they've all worked really well. I don't think you really need to upgrade unless your current iPad is like actively lagging with the apps that you need to use. I think I want to integrate that blue back in here, the dark blue. Feels like it's losing a little bit of that contrast, but I'll leave a little bit of the red too. Just a hint. Nice. Then after we go through the rest of these flowers with the light aqua, we will go in with the yellow. Steve, have you tried a mouse with your new iPad? The new ones are mouse enabled, I think. Oh, really? Like with a Bluetooth mouse? I have not. I haven't really found the need to. But I have used the new iPads with Sidecar, which is like the second monitor. I thought I could use that maybe instead of AstroPad to like use desktop Photoshop on my iPad, but to be honest, it disconnects so frequently. Like it was almost unusable for me. It worked in the short term, and it's also not a very large monitor, so if you need two monitors, I'm not sure if an iPad is really going to give you the real estate that you need. Unless you just want a monitor for like your Spotify or your reference images maybe, but I found it to be very small. Not my favorite. Was very glad when I got a real second monitor that I could use. This lily is feeling a little bit alien. Like you could find it in the world of Annihilation. Which I like, but also freaks me out a little bit. I'm almost trying to treat this like a leopard print. So these smaller shapes within larger swatches. Trying to make it look organic. Natural camouflage. Okey-doke. Get over here on this petal a little bit. Sidecar looks fun. It kind of works. It needs some help. It works worse than AstroPad. Definitely. World of Annihilation, is that the name of your Animal Crossing island? No, but I do believe that if you play Animal Crossing, you know that you can take a flight to a mystery island on Dodo Airlines, And I'm pretty sure those dodos just take you through the shimmer. And that's why they're like, you can't leave anything there. You're never going to be able to go back. Like, are you sure you're ready to come back? They're definitely taking you through the shimmer. They are. It's fact. And if you look at the world of Animal Crossing through that lens, it gets a little more freaky. These animals speak to you. Maybe they were human once. I don't know. Tom Nook isn't who he says he is. That's all I'm going to say. That's not all I'm going to say. You know it's not. We're almost done with the blue. Then maybe we'll even play with changing the color of this layer. Ooh, that's cool. Rock says Adobe Fresco does not support Windows 10. I installed it, but it doesn't open. It should work on Windows, yeah, thank you, Sam, for asking. Like Windows mobile tablets. You gotta use those Nook miles. I got a lot of Nook miles. How many miles is too many miles? Yeah, it doesn't work on desktop, Rock, sorry, but you can use Photoshop. That would probably be the closest painting experience that you would get. You can use all the brushes, the same brushes, in Photoshop. Let's go back to blue. Forgot to add it in a couple different areas. Maybe down here a little bit. And then we're gonna go in there with that yellow. Yes. It is kind of cool that the blossom on the left has that kind of pop of yellow and nothing else does. Maybe that one will have the most yellow since it's the biggest flower. And then the rest will just be little slivers. Sounds good to me. Let's go back to our yellow, increase our brush size. I love this part of Fresco, how you can just tap and drag up and down. You can get real up in there with those brush textures. Looks good. Rock says I need to buy an iPad. That's a big purchase for sure. Too big. There we go, that's better. Where's my touch shortcut? Sometimes it gets lost. There we go. I'll add a little bit in here. So again, not as much as the biggest blossom, but there's still some yellow going on. Ceiling is dripping. Oh no, Dave. Hopefully not on your iPad. See you later. Hope everything's okay. I don't want to cover up all of that, so we'll just add a little bit there. And a little bit there. Touch shortcut, clean up this edge. Cool. Good to go. Susanna says his illustration's really lovely, Kathleen. Thank you. I can't wait to try Fresco on my Surface Pro. I finally used my stylus on my first Photoshop challenge. The cool thing is that Photoshop is on the same device to polish. Yes, that's awesome. How was your stylus with the Surface Pro? Those are the really skinny, like S pens, right? Or is that a Chromebook? Sorry for the typo. It's okay, Susanna. At least you called me Kathleen. A lot of people like to call me Catherine, which is not my name. But they sure think it is. It didn't help in elementary school. My best friend's name was Catherine. And I would always take it so personally when people would call me Catherine. Like, you like her more? You want me to be her? But as an adult, I'm like, our names were really similar. Justin says, I've never been one to believe that tools make the artist, but an iPad is really helps. It does. Yeah, if you're gonna buy a tablet, like a nice Wacom, you might as well buy an iPad. Although Wacoms are awesome. I love mine. But this is funny, actually. I left my Wacom at work. It's on my desk. And then we got the order to not go to work. So I was like, well, guess my Wacom's gone. That's why I've been using the iPad so much. And that's why I was playing so much with Sidecar and AstroPad. I'm like, I gotta draw. I like that. Looks good. And we'll get some in this little furl down here. Is furl a noun or is it just a verb? To unfurl something? The things we ask ourselves during a sketch party. I think up here it looks a little too heavy-handed. I'm going to soften up this section just a little bit so we can get some of that nice texture going. And then maybe even erase some. Ooh la la. What is under there? Cool, we haven't played with erasing from the large yellow shapes. That kind of changes everything, huh? Nice. Maybe we'll erase from this one a little bit too. Maybe from the other side. All right. There we go. We have our wild colors in place. Let's erase just a little bit of this piece. Maybe a little bit of this piece. Make it look like it's actually a natural part of the flower paint. I'm gonna turn off, oops, the reference. All right, let's play around with backgrounds. Sounds like a fun character name, Furl McTanahan. So true. Shauna says, my sister and I have 2 letters that separate our names, Shauna and Shayla. Oh my gosh, why did your parents do that, Shauna? Oh boy. I bet they're like, Shauna, Shayla, shoot. My parents have 3 children and 1 dog, and all of our names start with a K or a C. So Kyle, Casey, Kathleen, Kirby. So there's a lot of Kyle, Casey, Kirby. And then you can't even like take them seriously when they're mad at you. Justin, see you later. You absolutely love my sketch parties. That's really sweet. Thanks. I hope it's just a chill time to hang out. We're not trying to impress anybody. We're just trying to draw some flowers, you know? Have a good time. Have a nice dinner. I will see you for the DCC in the morning. All right, let's close our colors and we're going to start playing with backgrounds. Why is it constraining me? There we go. So I'm going to turn off the color palette as well. What color? We talked about a dark background, so let's start with that first. So one way to quickly get a background in is you can use the paint bucket tool. So let's do that. Cannot fill a hidden layer. Let's just add a new layer then. We're going to fill it with pixel. That looks interesting. And now the last thing we have to do is then erase or use white on a new layer behind the flowers so we can see through them a little bit. I just looked down and saw my dog sleeping, and how did I get so lucky? Somebody tell me. You have no idea, Shauna. My grandma told my mom she was going to regret it one day, and that's exactly what she does. Shauna, Shayla, who are you? Which one are you? You're all C's, Chad, Christina, and Cooper, Cutter, and Cheeto. That's amazing. Why? Why does that happen? Why is it done? I might actually keep it darker near the base to help add with that darkening the shadows. I'm just erasing. I'm not erasing, I'm painting with white beneath everything, but on top of the background. And if it's a little bit rough around the edges, that's okay. We can clean it up later. Clean it up in post. Post is now. There is no post. Alrighty, get this going over here. Steven says, I'm terrible at digital painting. Steven, just takes a little practice. Or a lot of practice. It is different than traditional painting for sure, but it's the same tenets. It's just kind of a little bit different in practice. That's looking pretty cool, my dude. Dave says, okay, I put a bucket under it, so weird. That's the last thing you need right now, Dave, is a leaky roof. I hope it just magically stops leaking. That would be nice. I'm gonna be up here for just a couple more minutes. That hour completely flew by. Goodness gracious. But then, like I said, after me, we're gonna have some illustration and Illustrator right at 3:30. So when I hop off here, don't go anywhere because there's gonna be more illustration after me. And then I'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning with the Daily Creative Challenge. We're gonna be doing day 7, and actually I'm gonna give you guys a sneak peek or hint. Tomorrow's Daily Creative Challenge is illustration based. So that's gonna be fun. So that'll be at 9 a.m. I almost said 9:30, but no. Ends at 9:30. And then I will actually be streaming to my personal Behance tomorrow evening, I'm pretty sure. I think from 4 to 5 Pacific time. So I'm just everywhere these days. Can't get rid of me. All right, voila. Let's actually turn off this pink layer and see how it looks. That's actually kind of beautiful. Let's do a quick layer mask. Alrighty, create empty mask. I'm going to erase the lines from the blossoms, but keep them for the stem. I know we worked so hard on carving the lines. But if it looks good, sometimes you just gotta go for it. Can't be scared to kill your darlings in lieu of a much prettier darling. That sounds messed up. Voila! Oh, wait, not yet, not yet. Don't look, don't look. Wait for it. Okay. Oh no. Getting too excited. All right, there's our lilies. Thank you everybody for participating in my sketch party where you chose what sketch, you chose the color palette, and I just had to do what you wanted. It's a fun little interaction we have here. Olivier, who is next? Next, let's see. Next, let's see. We've got Dale Beginny, who's going to be doing some illustration in Illustrator. So seriously, just stick around for a couple more minutes. The player will automatically refresh and start his stream. It's going to be good. Yeah, you just noticed the Adobe Live schedule. If you scroll down below the player, the schedule's there, I think, for the next 2 days. So it's pretty helpful. Susanna says, I'd like to try your work and play at home challenge, maybe one evening or on the weekend. Please do. That would be so fun. I'd love to see what you make. And join us on Discord if you are interested. Somebody said that... Oh, Olivier said, thanks for the stream. It helped me relax while working. Good. I'm glad that you were chilling at the sketch party. That's what it's all about. Sue, hello Sue, says, love it. Thank you for the party. Of course, I'll probably post this on Instagram sometime soon, if not on my stories. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, my name's Kathleen Illustrated over there. And then I will see you tomorrow morning for the Daily Creative Challenge. But stick around for illustration coming up next. Thank you, Rock. I'll see you guys later. Bye.